Welcome, everybody, to Kellie and Jason Davenport's Vetted Homes weekly strategizing workshop here live on the internet, live from Zoom and Snard, California. It's time for the big show. And now, here's your host, Kellie and Jason Davenport.
Well, that was a fantastic introduction. Now let's talk about you, Jensen Millar. We are so thrilled to have you on our show today to talk about real estate, insurance, hopefully some bowling and some other exciting things.
Hey, some people call me the space cowboy. Better, man.
Yes.
Or the gangster of love.
Yes.
Is that
You're
the
onto something
Yes.
there, Bill. You're on it.
Yes. Yes.
But we're just so happy to have you on. You have been, well, you're not only my cousin, but one of my most favorite people in this world. And so I'm just thrilled to have you on our show and introduce you to, well, the whole World Wide Web. But just to pick your brain, get some information from you and just your wealth of information. So we're just happy to have you on. Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me. And first of all, thank you for making me. I want you to be happier. I want you to be happier.
Yes.
Had to get that out of my system, but thank you, no, really, for having me. I worked with State Farm for over a decade, and as we all know, right now, there's some harrowing times in this market, not only in many places in this country, but especially here in California. So I'm happy to help any way that I can.
Yes, absolutely. And anytime you want to do impromptu singing, that is welcome on
Thank
this
you.
show. Yes. Just express yourself in any way you need to.
I never claim to be normal, but you're gonna love me.
Exactly. Well, so you touched on it, a decade in the insurance environment world, and maybe for the benefit of our audience, maybe can you break down maybe what your specific role was with
Sure.
It was with State Farm, correct? For the whole 10
So
years?
it started as American Income Life. So that was like unionized life insurance. And I broke into the industry in Boston under Chris LaFon. He was my initial mentor, and he really taught me some incredible, you know, uh, uh, hello, brain. He taught me a lot of my foundation, the principles I use in insurance to help people as the main vehicle. And so I was kind of latched onto that, and I tried to, fall passionately in love with my job. And I did, because it allowed me to meet with people. Obviously, I love talking and meeting with people, and that's how I built rapport and connections and trust in this industry. So it started in life insurance and then migrated uh, to personal lines, property casualty lines, and still with life. As I moved back out to California, I was with farmers for like 6 months. And then I found State Farm close to my home in Culver City and started there in 2015. Yeah, 2015. So
Wow.
been with them ever since in California and Texas. When Misty got sick, I was there for about a year and a half. And so I still was with State Farm. It's important to know when, like, for instance, we'll use homeowners policy, even auto policies. Each state is completely different. Each state has their own insurance guidelines and rules. And even like out here, when you have a homeowner's policy, you have to have a separate policy for earthquake coverage, right? Or for flood coverage.
California.
So there are certain perils in a homeowner's policy, and those perils covered will vary with each state. For instance, in Texas, earthquake is actually covered in their homeowner's policy. It doesn't require a separate policy. So it's important to know, if you have houses in many states, like, hey, if you have a house in Florida, California, and New York and Texas, like, hey, it's worth looking into, because I guarantee each state coverage and what is outlined as perils covered in your policy will be different with a certain few, and those certain few will pertain to that state. So like in Florida, you can't get wind damage coverage.
Mm.
You know, they simply aren't even like writing insurance anymore in Florida. It's very difficult. Just like right out here in California,
Mm.
I think there's like 10 companies in California actively writing home policies right now. All the big major carriers have basically disappeared and dropped out. State Farm still hasn't written a homeowner's policy in the state since May 27th last year. And it's probably going to go on through 2024, but first half of 2025 is when it's supposed to, we'll open up the market again. So these are unparalleled times. Nothing's ever been like this in this state. If you would have asked me, hey, you're not going to write a homeowner's policy for over a year, I would have laughed. I would have not believed you. So things are crazy and different than they have ever been.
Why
right
do
now.
you think that is, Jensen? What's the main cause, or maybe it's multiple?
So in this state, here's my opinion, and I've had just constant streams of information. So the person I work for, Darren Tsukishima, brilliant guy. I trust him. He's does business really, really, really well, and I respect him a whole bunch. And so he's just provided the team with just ample information over the last year for guidance, for what are we predicting over the next 6 months, with rating. He's been a wealth of information, and in all of that going in, I've concluded, in my own opinion, that there is a fight going on with the big carriers and the Department of Insurance, and particularly the commissioner, which is a publicly elected official.
Mm.
And it's usually a stepping stone position. So, these people are thinking about votes, all right, because they're politicians. That right there is a problem for me, because the whole thing is about the industry. Why do we have a commissioner of insurance who's never done anything with insurance, Ricardo Lara?
Mm.
This is a politically motivated guy. And I think the antiquated law or proposition that they're using from like we'll say roughly 1990, I believe is Prop 103. It was a proposition that required all insurance carriers to compete in terms of number, like what you would offer new business. Okay, new business is different than existing business. Existing business, like right now, renewals, people getting renewed, like, hey, 2,000 last year, 5,000 this year. I mean, we're talking 100, 200% rate increases in this area in Valencia in particular. Mine went from 1,900 to 2,700.
Wow.
So that was a good one. Like,
wow.
It's crazy. So there's a fight. There's a, and it's all over that proposition. State Farm doesn't want to write new business, neither does Farmers or Allstate, with these rates, because here's the analytic. It's math. It's very simple. The last year or the year before that, one of the two, for every dollar that State Farm collected, they paid out $1.30. So you got to take into consideration the cost to repair cars has gone through the roof since COVID. I mean, everything has gone through the roof basically in the last 5 years compared to what it was before. And insurance costs, unfortunately, is an upside down. Allstate was the worst of it. I think they were like for every dollar they collected, they paid out they were like 60 cents upside down per dollar. So they got like shut down, mandated. You can't write new business at all. State Farm was able to choose for themselves. If you can't meet us in the middle at least and give us these rate increases that we've been wanting without forcing us to open our books. So here's the caveat on the premise of the fight. Here's the the punchline of this whole story is companies can request up to 7% rate increase without opening their books. All the carriers wanting for the last 3 years 25% rate increases, and the department insurance says no, we want to see your books. And so we're like, fine, here's our books. In insurance, so like State Farm has let's just use a round number, $10 billion worth of coverage out there for houses in California, right? Follow me? All insurance carriers, Farmers, State Farm, Geico, they do something called reinsurance. They insure their insurance. The state of California is saying that's like income. We don't get to write off that if we're reinsuring $2 billion of that 10 billion, they're saying that 2 billion is like income to us. They're not letting State Farm count that 2 billion as not like that's premium basically that we are going to pay. That amount of money is a lot, and you add it up over all the carriers, and now we're in the situation. Now they're saying, fine, F you, we're not writing any more policies. Yeah. Now you have people that are only able to buy the California Fair Plan, which is a policy of last resorts, quite frankly. It's terrible price and terrible coverage, but it's what will give you fire protection.
Wow. Well, you obviously know that. No, this is great. So you obviously know what we do. We educate landlords, homeowners on how to do insurance midterm rental, and obviously insurance is a big part of that business model. So I know whoever's watching this video is going to have the question, what does that mean for the future of home insurance? In the short term, the long term. I mean, you don't have a crystal ball unless it's behind your super cool Steve Miller shirt that I can't see, but what would you say to our community members who are, wondering what does the future of homeowner insurance look like, maybe on a California size scale, but also nationally?
I think nationally, great question, by the way. Nationally, I think overall it's okay. The state, we're in unprecedented times, so it's going to play out a little bit longer, I believe, probably like another year. And we know that there will be the most people ever without home insurance after it's all said and done. So let's say the market opens up. Now you're going to be offered, okay, $6,000 a year, $500 a month to insure your home. And your cars are like going to be that much money too, unless you have that homeowner's policy to like bundle discounts. That's super important, everybody, for price control, premium control. Bundle the living smack out of your insurance. That can save thousands and thousands of dollars for most of us a year if you're owning a home and a couple cars. That's important. So you want to be shelled in the same carrier, and if you're going to pay for insurance, pay for a good carrier. Don't pay for a carrier that will purposely work hard to not pay you. Go with the carrier. Like, the whole point of this is if we need it, if we have to use it, we want the money right away, And so I know I've watched with my own eyes State Farm take care of people like the Woolsey fire. That just blew my mind. I watched, we had 6 policyholders that watched their house burn down completely. And they rolled in with just the clothes, like pajama clothes and flip-flops. And State Farm, boom, they're like, write them each a check for $10,000 right now so they got to go buy clothes. One woman needed a cane, right? So pick a good insurance company. What the future holds is a little bit unknown in this state. This is a shit show. Sorry, excuse my language, but it is what it is, and I try to keep it clean for as long as possible. But
yeah,
it is.
That's awesome.
And I don't think the commissioner and the CEOs of the insurance are helping themselves out at all. They don't like each other, and it's a battle of wills, like who's stubborn enough, who's going to give in. At some point, you have to meet in the middle. That's what will happen, but prices will be very high, a lot higher than they were before, and you're going to have fewer companies wanting to do business in the state. I believe State Farm will definitely do business in the state, but it's basically we're not going to write a policy for 1,500 a year or $2,000 a year. It doesn't make sense. Like you can't even the the nature of the we are required. The nature of the beast is things are more expensive now. This is the insurance companies pay out on these these claims, and so their costs are going through the roof. It's important to think about this when you're dealing with insurance companies. Which ones are mutual companies and which ones are not mutual companies? Mutual companies are owned by the policyholders, like AAA is mutual, State Farm is a mutual company. So I believe Geico's mutual, government employees, right? So mutual companies, the policyholders own the company. So I always felt more secure with price points. If the policyholders own the company, they're not trying to raise prices on themselves. So I always prefer a mutual company to help control costs. But there are low budget companies out there for like auto and stuff. But you're getting moving forward, stick with the good companies. You're gonna pay more. That's my prediction.
No, that's really good information. Thank you for that. Yeah. I think man, the blessing and the curse of living in California, it's just like beautiful weather out right now. We're sitting here in the sunshine, but man, it's getting more and more expensive. So
The beauty of California is like in Santa Monica, you own a 1,200 square foot home that was built in 1924. That's worth 2.6 million.
yeah,
That's the beauty of California. So
yes,
sometimes it may be worth paying more for your home insurance. Don't freak out, like maybe you lay off 2 manicures a month or something. Yeah, I mean, I'm just throwing stuff out there. You think about all the crap we spend. Don't not protect your greatest asset. The greatest thing you ever bought in your life in California is definitely your home.
absolutely.
So I urge everyone, despite the price increase, don't cheap out on your retirement probably.
Yeah,
So you may cut other corners, but don't cheap out on your insurance, because the day you need it and you don't have it, that's the worst day of your life. And the day you need it and you have it with a good company, that's going to be a terrible day in your life, but it's going to be a whole hell of a lot better because you're going to get paid. Please remember that principle. And Murphy's Law exists. We talk about Murphy's Law because it always happens. So don't shoot yourself in the foot to save a couple grand when you have $1 or $2 million asset that's probably has a shit ton of equity in it at this point. So,
yeah,
be wise with the amount of money. I know vetted homes, it could be extremely lucrative and successful. And I know you guys have been doing well. I'm so proud of you. Congratulations, seriously, from the bottom of my heart. I know you guys worked your butts off, but not only working hard, you two are the best people that I know. Honest to God, you're two of the best. You've lived your whole life that way too, since college. Since I've lived with you both, right?
yeah.
Jason strumming the guitar in the corner, and
That's right.
my pit bull dog Jim's like pool of pee somewhere on the carpet.
Yeah, sleeping on the
That dog did not like to go outside, but
Oh,
separate topic. But I'm proud of you guys. Vetted homes can make you guys a lot of money. Use some of that money to make sure you keep decent insurance. And for the time being, even if you got to do the FAIR plan to protect against fire, in an earthquake, it's impossible. None of us know when the next one will hit. But you have zero coverage unless you have an earthquake policy. So
yeah,
you can customize those. So look into those. Don't bury your head. we still need this stuff. And so while this crest rides out, it will change, and it'll change for the best, because right now it's really crappy for all of us as consumers and in a consumer protected state.
Yeah. Well, Jensen, you're one of our favorite people too. So thank you for those kind words. We honestly, we just want to help people all around. And this is such a great, unique opportunity for us to do so. Like you mentioned it, and there's nothing better than finding a place for somebody who's just had some horrible tragedy happen at their house. So it's our favorite thing to do is partner up a displaced family with one of our community members that's going to like take care of them well and love them well until they get back on their feet. So thank you for that. Along those
If
lines,
anybody ever has like questions, like, a lot of the times, if you like my brain, we'll get off this call and be like, oh, I
Yeah.
mean, you can give any of your peeps my contact
Oh.
information.
phone number in the comments. No,
Subscribe.
that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
One of
I'm
the
happy
pieces,
to help you guys in any way.
oh, you're awesome. Thank you. So one of the pieces of content that we have in our course is we teach our students to look at their coverage D policy, and we inform them to find out if something happened, how much would they be entitled to depending on their policy. So, it's the budget for temporary housing. So with that in mind, what do you see with the policies that you've written or State Farm's written when it comes to that specific part of the homeowner's policies? I think
You're talking specifically about coverage D on the homeowners.
yes.
Okay. Well, let me hold on one second. I got my boss just texted me.
You're good. You're good.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So, all right. Sorry about that, everyone. He writes my paycheck, right? So loss of use is coverage D. Obviously very important. This is the coverage that will get you into a vetted home, right? Your house burns down, or somebody drives into your living room, whatever, plane falls through your roof, and your house needs to be rebuilt, or you get displaced. Now, State Farm prior to 2020, their coverage D was actual loss sustained, no limits. Just when you're displaced, they're going to stick with you through the end.
Wow.
And that's for up to 2 years. So actual loss sustained in 24 months.
Wow.
It's an important coverage on any policy, whether it's a homeowner's policy, renter's policy, landlord's policies, or rental dwelling. Those are like loss of rents, basically. Loss of use will be loss of rents on those policies. And usually they'll do actual loss sustained up to 12 months on the landlord policies. The renter's policies will always have loss of use will be 30% of whatever your personal property coverage is on the policy. So if you have 10,000 in personal property, you'll get 3,000 in loss of use. For homeowners, it's more important because the expectation is to be placed into a home of like order, and that can be a lot more daunting than in an apartment or with the whole family. So that's where you get into your guys' territory. A lot of companies, it's critical you look at over the definitions, because all these policies are contracts, essentially. You got to read them. I know there's fine prints, but they'll give you definitions, and you could we're all pretty well versed if you're in vetted homes. Like, we could, if we don't know how to read a policy, we need to learn how to read a policy. And if at this point you may be getting good at it, read up on it. Most of the big carriers will have very similar coverages, but a lot of the carriers now are allowing you to be able to customize your coverage. It's a big selling point. So like loss of use, if I own 5 homes and my primary home, gets yellow tagged or red tagged, I don't really have a huge need for loss of use because I've got 4 other houses I can move into, right? It's everything on an insurance policy is about your needs and your wants. Okay. I'll tell you one of the most important things in a homeowner's policy, in addition to your loss of use, is that your personal liability. That coverage comes in a homeowner's policy or renter's policy. Okay. If you're owning extra houses, you have a net worth now, right? The moment you own a home here, you're a millionaire. So
Yeah.
you start getting into multiple homes, your net worth is going up. And personal liability, like I'll give you an example. In Valencia now, it's like you don't know who you're driving behind. So like we do a lot of filming. We had a policyholder rear end a very famous actor, first name Vigo, and he couldn't go to his audition because he was on his way to an audition. That fender bender gave him a little bump on his nose, not broken or anything, sued and won $810,000. So you have to protect yourself with your homeowner's policy. If you're not well versed on it, get well versed on it because a lot of things in your life could potentially come down to what coverages you have on that policy. And don't be underinsured because you don't want to have to sell your house to pay off that greedy actor. So, but he lost the job because he got in an accident. So, I mean, it is what it is. That's why we have insurance. So that $20 a month that person spent to have that extra liability coverage, I feel like is just as important as loss of use. So I just want to try to inform you not to change the subject that you were talking about, Jace, but loss of use is you're going to have a lot more coverage. So State Farm, 30% of your personal property, or no, 30% of the coverage you have on your dwelling will be the loss of use coverage. So if your home is covered for $1 million, you'll have 300,000 in total loss of use coverage. Very, very important coverage in my mind out here. You got earthquakes. If you get displaced, that's why you should get a earthquake because sometimes foundations slip. You're not going to lose a ton of property unless the fire happens, but then your homeowner's policy will cover that because it was a fire.
Yeah.
The fair point. So, but if your foundation slips, your house is yellow tagged because of that, you're going to be fully out of pocket. So you can customize earthquake policies. I urge you to, because we haven't had a big one in a hot minute. So since that cozy January morning,
1994.
That was caca.
No, thank you.
So
I have a follow-up question on that. So
great.
One of our, I mean, the majority of our leads come from relocation companies, and they're spread out all over the country, and there's bigger ones and smaller ones. But can you, if you know, maybe you don't know, maybe detail the relationships that like a big major insurance carrier like State Farm has with relocation companies? Like, how does that work, and why does this claim have to be filtered through a relocation company?
Well, that's a great question. I'm afraid, and in being perfectly honest with you, these are the definitions that I'm not going to be too knowledgeable on because this is directly relating to claims.
Okay.
And State Farm, so I was always on the agency side. I'm on the policyholder side. They don't teach us claims because they want people to file claims so they lose claim-free discounts. They don't inform us how to, because I mean, a claim is so nuanced, it would blow your mind. And it all requires answers and details, whether something's going to be covered or not. So I could never have those conversations in my job. But I will say this, that most agencies have very good resources with the types of companies that you're referring to. And I know for a fact, I've seen it with my agencies being able to help. You kind of got to get to the agent themselves to provide you that information. But yeah, like most carriers will help you in all of that, and they want to. In your time of need, they're wanting to help.
That's good. That's good. No, that's a great answer.
Anything else?
You want to talk about some fun stuff? What are
Yes.
you up to nowadays?
Well, I am now running a bowling alley as well. My significant other has a sick parent, so having to be in Arizona quite a bit. She's actually on her way home right now for her retirement party tomorrow. She was here for 25 years, so
Awesome.
we got like 100 people coming. I rented a taco truck.
Yes.
The taco man's coming.
Yes.
So real excited for that. And I've been hanging out with my nephew a lot, Gage, lately. I should try to stop by there every day because I want to be like an Uncle Cal or an Uncle Wayne.
Oh,
My nephew. So like your dad was, like the more I'm not near him and around him, the more I realize exactly what he meant, you know. He was a good, amazing person, and I miss the living crap out of him. Nobody competed like your dad either. On the golf course, man, and he was lucky. He had this left-handed luck about him with that wedge.
Yep.
Cal, can you stop hitting it to 1 inch? It's just amazing. Doctor.
Yeah.
I love it.
I made myself choke there.
Oh, it's all right.
I don't get enough doctors anymore. Doctor shot.
Yeah.
How are you guys? Busy?
Yeah. Busy.
Travel a lot? Do you guys go into, where do you guys go these days?
We do. I love traveling.
Wherever there's a baseball game is typically where we're going nowadays.
Just Titus have summer ball going on?
He does.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is he into it?
Oh, I'm so into it.
It's
Yeah.
fun.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Gotta get him hitting.
I know. Well, he went to Mike and Uncle Wayne, so he's
Oh, good.
hitting the ball, and we always laugh because as soon as he's on first base, he gets on first, and we're like, it's a double because next
Jackie Joyner Kersey at first base.
You saw him when you came to his game, watching him run.
Yeah. Oh my God, I was excited. You got to change it up every now and again and get out of this. You forget that like 25 minutes away, it's 40 degrees cooler.
So true.
Like, what the hell? How could it be like this? I don't know, but yeah, I miss you guys.
Oh, we miss you too. Yeah, if you want to escape.
Where are you guys at right now? Are you in Oxnard?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're home.
We're home.
Yeah.
And
Temporary.
are the kids there?
They are.
Yeah.
They're all here.
Summer break.
Actually, I think Titus went out to check the surf, so they may be heading out soon to go catch some waves.
Catch some waves, bro.
Catch some waves, bro.
Totally.
Yeah.
Ripping gnarly out there, man. I've got to have like salty beach hair with some curls too, and Billabong shirt. You know what? That would go. That would probably.
That would.
Oh yeah. The kids are all into the retro.
Plenty of space cowboys out there on that sand.
100%.
That's like Ty's like, I need a Green Day record. I'm like, Green Day? How do you know who that is? What do you mean? So he's blasting.
Come around. Sorry.
I love it.
Not sorry.
Oh,
we love you. We love
you guys. I gotta get back. I honestly do. I mean, like 50 text messages.
I get it. Well,
love you guys
for your time.
Come see me whenever you want.
All right. We love you tons. Thanks for all the information.
Love you, man.
Can you sign us off?
Well, that's it for tonight. For Jason Davenport, Kellie Davenport, I'm Jensen Millar saying so long. We'll see you again next time.